Hello, guys. Welcome to the NeFi space. Hello, Hedgehog. Hello, David. I think today is a casual conversation about my reflections by attending the Domain Summit 2024 in London in the past few days. And if you want to hop on the call, you can also, I can invite you to speak on the stage. So I think David's it's a new guest here. I've seen your profile. You like online brand protection, and Hedgehog is one of our NeFi users, also a domainer in both Web 2 and Web 3 space. I think I so to be frank with you, the Domain Summit 2024 in London was my first event. So just to introduce myself, I'm Sunny. I work at the growth and operations at NeFi. So it's my first Domain Summit ever, and it's also my first time to know like there are so many businesses that's built around domains, such as brand protections, advertisements, search engine optimizations, and also there are a huge research group that focus on the cybersecurity aspects of domains, and also there are people working in legal industry that kind of protect domains, protect the brands. So I think the first day of the domain summit, the highlight I got is so if you are a registry or you are interested in applying a new generic top level domain, I think in 2026, ICANN is open another GTLD program. So it's according to the official website, it's expected to open in April 2026. So in the summit, I've also seen the our co-builder or people in the on-chain domain space, such as D3. So they are there because I think they're expected to register to be on-chain, the first on-chain registry to apply for a brand new generic top level domain. So it's quite exciting to see the Web3 people there as well. I think on the first day, the second thing that's kind of on my mind is it's short dot. So short dot is basically also a registry. So they are so if you search ICANN wiki, you can find that short dot is actually responsible for many let's see, many interesting top level domains such as .sbs, .icu, .bond, .cu, and .cfd, which is related to fashion. And what strikes me is that the founder and CEO of Short.sa, Lars Jensen, he is also he's also quite bullish on the Web3 world, which he founded the Web United. I think it's also like a on-chain domain registrar, a bit similar to NeFi, but I think they're more on the two business side of things. We are now currently on the retail side. If you go to our website, you can register a domain just like the way you register on GoDaddy. So it's quite interesting to see them, and I think the third biggest, most interesting thing to me is a presentation from Werner Staub. So Werner is, I think he works as a chair at the Core Association. They're basically a consultancy for registries and registrars. They provide guidance for people who want to apply for top new generic top-level domains. And the presentation he presented is nothing about advice to applying for new top-level domain, but basically a new way to use DNSSEC to basically to route. So say for example, Google.com. Google probably own many domains. Like their portfolio is probably huge, but currently there's no way to map the linkage of the ownership together, because it's on Web3. There's on Web2 there's no time scale on domains, so you don't really know when the transactions happen and how they are connected in some ways. But with the blockchain, I think the new thing is like you add a timestamp, and you know exactly how domains are connected to each other. But Werner didn't really talk about the blockchain aspect, but he's more on the how do you add a certain text strings to represent the sub ownerships of domains within a corporation, such that people won't be scammed on the internet for scammy domains that kind of imitate the authentic domains. So I think that's a very interesting point, and we had a discussion after that. And the fourth interesting project that strikes me is called Titan Research. I think the project is focused on the data aspects of domains and domain trading, domain parking, domain monetization. So what they do is they have an algorithm to basically help them to batch purchase domains for trading, and also for parking, and which is very interesting, because I think for retail users we haven't really seen a like a chatbot tool for what valuable domains to buy on the internet. I think since domains has existed like since 1985, so it has been 29 years. So it's not a very new thing for business in their backend to have an algorithmic machine to help them to understand which domains to batch purchase, and to automatically park to monetize and host for monetization. And I think this project is very interesting. Their founders based in Canada, and the main team is in London. And he basically showed a slide of which top level domains are trending nowadays. And I think the most the funny thing about a top level domain that's declining, it's basically .co.uk domain. The demand for .co.uk has declined for 40% ish. So I'm not sure it's but this kind of news kind of correlates with the things you see on Bloomberg. Like a lot of people are leaving the UK to Singapore or Australia or America. So they kind of match together. And in terms of the trending top level domains, he suggested .bot is trending, .lat is also trending. So these are the two I remember. The others I don't kind of remember, but he basically compared the number of the registration number of .ai and the registration number of .com. So according to that objective comparison, is that there are still a lot of investment space around .ai domain, because in terms of the number of registration, .ai is much smaller now. And on the first day, yeah, I think that's the four highlights I got from basically got from the first day of Domain Summit. And also, I think .it.com, the subdomain registry, it.com is one of the one of the largest sponsors for this event. So I think a lot of the team members are here, including Joseph, and also Tess, who is very connected in the industry. And yeah, so they're working on this subdomains based on it.com. So it's also very interesting. So it struck me that why is it there are not many subdomain registries out there, even though there is subdomains possible. But maybe in the audience, you guys probably know more than I do. So that's basically the first day. It's quite interesting, and in terms of people's attitude towards Web3, I can sense some enthusiasm, such as from the founder of Short.sa, Lars Jansen, but I'm not sure if the enthusiasm is that pronounced, because on Wednesday it's where the second day take place, and on the second day we not only have Domain Summit, we also have a digital track where the crypto people got invited, and also I think the problem is there are not enough audience on the crypto crowd, so I think in order for people to get more awareness in terms of using blockchain to add value to domain trading, we actually need to mingle domain people with the on-chain or blockchain people more in the conference itself, instead of separating into two different tracks. That's just my opinion. I think by interleaving the different topics together, people might be more open-minded or more willing to accept what's out there. Otherwise, separation it's not really friendly to connect two industries together, in my view. Yeah, so I also give a talk about NeFi and what we hope to achieve in the future, how we could use blockchain to improve the domain trading in Web3. I think my biggest takeaway actually came from a conversation with Braden Pallock. So I met Braden yesterday in the networking place with our advisor. So we had a chat about his thought about the Web3 space. He is also he I think he is one of the board member of another Web3 domain company. I think everyone in the space kind of have this problem of acquiring users, because for the most of the people, like 95% of people, let's assume the 5% people are crypto native people. You know how to set up a wallet. You know about Lightning wallet. You know about MetaMask. You know maybe you know more about other altcoins, other chains. But for the other 95% of people don't know how to set up a wallet. So already, the DApp is blocking a lot of users who want to have a better user experience of trading domains. So Braden actually shared with us about his view on how difficult Web3 is to use right now. In my view, I think because Web3 is such a collaborative space, and I've been to so many conferences, I think there are a lot of builders who are working on solving onboarding issues, such as people who are working on the account abstraction side of things. So it's not really an excuse of not providing a good user experience. Like logging with your email already exists. So I think it's more on the application side to incorporate more toolings that's already existing to the space, and with the aim of providing a better user experience for the domain traders. So you can you can list your domains way better, way easier, and you can auction your domains way easier. So that's basically if you go to sorry, I stretched a bit further, but if you go to Polymarket, they actually allow you to sign up with your email account, and basically the whole user experience is like how you use Coinbase or Binance or other major centralized exchanges for. I think my reflections basically all of the real world asset platform should learn from the user experience that's already there, provided by the centralized exchanges, because users should be able to log in, deposit money with their email address instead of email, because their goal is not to learn about Web3. Their goal is like trading domains. So that's basically my view. And yeah, the conversation with Braden was quite exciting, and he shared with us the recent domain sales he got, and also some advice on how to buy a domain. I think his story begins 18 years ago, 2007. He started investing in domains, and before then he was working on his own legal marketing agency that's focused on the legal side of things, focused on the law industry. Sorry, yeah. It's so 18 years, and he thought in 2007 he thought he was late in the industry because everyone is like there. And 2007, it's basically the inception of mobile internet. It's not even Web 1, it's a bit of Web 2 already. So basically, he told me now is not too late. You just have to get into the game and know the basics, like top level domain, second level domain. How do you pair these valuable things together, and how do you choose your niche? He basically started by choosing the niche of naming for the law industry. So I think that's basically also a strategy for people who want to get into domain trading, and you also newbie like me. Maybe you choose the industry you are familiar with, whether that's biotech or Web3. Yeah, you can start from there and start with low value domains and try different things in Web 2. I think after several rounds of trying, you'll probably know what the pinpoints in trading domains in Web 2 is like. And you can come here and contribute product ideas in Web 3. Yeah, I think that's basically my takeaway from the domain summit. There are also folks who are working in the SEO space and also brand protection, advertisements, solicitors, and also anti DNS abuse, which I'm less familiar with. So I'm sorry that I didn't really take much memory into my head about these areas. But I do have a question about SEO, because if anyone knows the answer, you can join the conversation. So for me, I haven't really worked full time in SEO before, but for me, it's a way to improve your search ranking in Google. So that's basically how it works. But I think in Web 2, the web search, like Google search or this ranked search of different web pages are dominating. But in Web 3, if you want to put Web 3 in more generic sense, it's basically a new era of internet. I think we would expect to see more people using chatbots instead of a search engine. We see in Web 2 to search for answers. At that time, I don't think I don't really see the position of SEO in chatbots and how they improve search results. I don't think that logic, the business logic, really fits with the semantic logic that's behind large language models. But if you use Perplexity today, you can see already they are citing different sites. So if they provide answer, they will provide the reference, and then if you click on the reference, you can go into the site, and that's the way also to bring traffic to a website. Yeah, so that's basically my curious question about what's the role of SEO in the era of AI chatbot. Okay, I've seen people requesting. Hello. Sorry to talk so much. Yeah. Hello, Palmer. Hi. If you want to chat, you just turn on your microphone, and you can share or ask questions about anything in the domain industry.
Hey, Jam, sorry, it took me a second to connect there. But hi, no, I've been really enjoying listening to you talk about the Domain Summit and everything that you learned and everything you were taking away.
Mm-hmm.
If you had any questions about the SEO, I just wanted to, share being someone who works in SEO, full
Mm-hmm.
time for decades.
Yeah,
To make
sure.
myself sound old.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, you can share some of your insights about SEO and how you see SEO moving forward in the AI era of search, maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's where we started and then there's where we're going, and we make a mistake as humans and we think like we can sort of see where we're going, but we make a mistake because we forget there's time before we get there. And so even though we have AI right now and AI is going to get bigger and more significant, there's still the current systems that are going to last a while.
Mm-hmm.
um and so yeah, eventually, I mean, yeah, no, but like the computer screen won't exist one day. Like one day the phone won't exist, and one day a computer screen won't exist. And when that happens, maybe we just think things and the computer's in our brain, or maybe we just speak things and we get a response back. And at that point, information is all machine learning. But before we get to that point, there's two things happening. There's legacy systems of search, and the legacy systems of search are still important.
Mm-hmm.
And the second factor is that the AI is still looking at all the web pages. It's consuming web pages. The AI is still adding new data. And when you
Yeah.
do good SEO on your website, you're basically organizing the information to be very clear for humans and very clear for search engines. And yeah, doing good SEO is just organizing information effectively. Um,
Mm.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's SEO is still important, but yeah, search engine or not search engines, AI platforms are definitely a new competitor for search engines.
Yeah. I think I can. Yeah, you're right. It's there must be a overlapping time frame between the traditional way of search and the new way of search, and they should coexist together. This is basically like how traditional domains like ICANN accredited domains work together with blockchain IDs. They are they are useful in their own sense. One for information, another for money. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's something I want to say, but it just slipped through my mind. It's also about AI. Oh yeah, it's about crawling. I think the for me it's like my intuition is that it's quite problematic for AI agent to centralizedly or massively crawl the public websites. Even if you set your robots.txt to be anti-crawling, they can still get around this by using a different IP address. So I think the problem with the current internet is that people know how to organize. They do their own things right. They organize information right. They create content on the internet publicly, but then the agents just like crawl information like crazy, and it's kind of like a cancerous system of not really giving back to the users itself. While you get the knowledge, of course, but to me, it's like a kind of tumor-genic system that doesn't really give back to the users. So I thought maybe there's a way to improve the traditional domains for better coordinating this phenomenon, since the if the information is published online, it's impossible to prevent anyone accessing the information. It just doesn't really, www just doesn't work like that. So but we might need a fair way to coordinate with the agents. Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's I would say that's genius in the sense that you are 100% spot on. You're 100% on the money, hole in one, because search engines are all about crawling, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and indexing, right? Crawling and indexing. So the first thing they do is they crawl all the websites. And the second thing they do is that they index that content. That's basically, that means they take a copy of it. And the third thing that the search engine does is it applies an algorithm.
Yeah.
And then you go to the search engine, you know, let it be images or videos or AI or whatever, and you type in a keyword and it spits out based on the algorithm, based on all the information it copied, based on all the URLs it was able to crawl. And then you accurately said how you can tell the search engine, don't crawl my website, but the search engine does not have to honor that. The search engine can disregard your request, assuming there's no password on the website, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the search engine will find all public information and it'll basically steal it, which is another point that you brought up. And so there's some information that the AI or the search engine can get to because it cannot get to because it's password protected. And then there's other information where you hear the company says, I'm going to sue you. You don't have access to my data. You can't use my data. Reddit just made a deal with Google.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was Google, right? So Reddit's not sharing any of their data with ChatGPT. They're only sharing their data with Google. So what ends up happening is that, you know, just to get to what that means, like one hand, the search engines and the AI will take whatever data they can steal. And on the second hand, and this has always been true, all the information in the world is not online. And so every AI, you could say every search engine, every data set is incomplete because nobody has access to all the information. There's no one AI that has access to all the information. And if there was,
Mm-hmm.
right, if we get to that point where one AI has access to all the information, I certainly hope that AI is open source and decentralized.
So, in your view, because you've been in the Web3 space for a very long time, what do you think of the current the projects that's in the decentralized AI space? That's some of them are legitimately they want to they try to solve the problem. Yeah, I think the vision is good, but how does it? But I'm not skeptical about like people everything need to be Web3, but for me it's like very important to think twice about can you solve it with the current Web2 solutions. Then if it cannot be solved, it's a political, it's an ideological thing, then you move on to the Web3 space. So what's your view on the current decentralized AI space?
I mean, I don't know about, like, I don't want to speak about any like specific projects, but
Mm-hmm.
what's important is this. This is the bottom line, 100%. This is what I'm sure is important.
Mm-hmm.
AI, AI is real. AI is going to get more powerful and more capable very quickly. And what AI is going to be able to do is going to be able to create infinite content. It's going to be able to create infinite anything. And Web3 needs to balance AI. Like it's Web3 and crypto is happening at the same time as AI. And what AI does is that, or what crypto does is that crypto can prove information.
Yeah,
The AI
proof.
creates information. So I don't know if we need a product that's mixing AI and Web3. What I know is that AI is going to get very strong. Web3 is going to get very strong, and these two technologies will come together naturally.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think you brought up a very interesting point of Web3 and the blockchain. It's about its ability to prove, because there's this time axis, which other does AI have time axes? I don't think so. I think people are trying to give AI memory, so it's more of artificially adding the time component into AI. But Web3 is naturally, blockchain is naturally time stamped. So yeah, the combination seems to be a very interesting thing. But what I haven't really seen in the current space is that people hasn't really given AI a solid ground to interact with each other. For example, AI, the agents need to interact with the domains, the crawlers, and after they crowd the data, they have to interact with the other agents to maybe produce something else. All the simple simple interactions would add up to more complex things in the future. That's how people call it artificial intelligence. For me, maybe it's more metaphorical. They cannot be as smart as human. I mean, in a different way, though. But in terms of logic, it's definitely superior. So the solid ground, I mean, people haven't really given identities to AI. So the conversation I had with Werner from the core associates is that he thinks maybe I can also need to push this thing forward by assigning maybe trivial like number strings or something to the AI agents, so they're labeled and they have a kind of ownership that belongs to a corporate or belongs to something, and all of the interactions or transactions are timestamped or recorded in history. So that would really foster things, but everything is kind of in the brainstorming page. It's just very interesting. I think this is something a NimFi could do because we're trying to add value to domains with blockchain, not only in the area of trading. I think trading is also very important. The traders make up a great ecosystem to the wider domain space. So without the traders, the domain space wouldn't really flourish as today. So yeah, I think there are many areas to think about with the blockchain, and naturally, it just seems that AI and blockchain would work together. Yeah, so everything is pretty new. So anyone in the audience who are interested in identities AI or trading domains would, it's a really good opportunity for you to join the industry, whether it's building or working. Hello, Palmer. You can talk.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you very much for this space, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna step down now.
Mm-hmm.
Really excited. I have my notifications on for NameFi. I love all the NameFi spaces.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you very much for the space.
Oh, no worries. You can hop off for other engagements. It's fine. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah, thank you for sharing about everything about the summit in London.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and thanks for sharing those thoughts too. It's like really interesting to think about the AI as search engine crawlers, and how they can access content and how Web3 can balance that. And yeah, I think what also you were saying is how, yeah, with NameFi or Web3, every AI is going to need to have a name. Every AI is going to have an identity, right? When it's
Mm-hmm.
interacting with us. And so I definitely see tokenization of domain names being important. And I see AI using the tokenization of domain names to help it communicate better with humans. But thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Bye bye. Yeah, so anyone who wants to go on the stage and ask questions or bounce ideas, you are more than welcome to join the conversation. Hello, Hedgehog. Do you have anything to share? Sorry to pin you, but I've run out of the material to say. Hello, the goat. I think it's my first time seeing you here in the space. Yeah. Hello, everyone who's here. Yeah. So this space started off as a recap for the Domain Summit 2024. Yeah. So in the previous 20 minutes, I shared a little bit about my learnings from the space and. Oh, hello, the goat.
Hey, GM.
GM.
Yeah, I echo what Gary said. Thank you for running the space. I know that I don't think we've interacted before, but I know it sounds like you're at a conference, and I know that typically at conferences, sometimes the last thing you want to do is step away from the excitement and run a space and share everything you're seeing and hearing. But nevertheless, I mean, it's great information, right? For those who can't be there to hear kind of the vibe and things. So, I definitely want to give you a shout out for that and express my appreciation for you doing that. I think sorry, I'm kind of just multitasking IRL stuff, doing some things around the home
It's
here,
fine.
but I can never resist, when somebody's, running up on stage, running the space and they're like, come on, guys, like, come someone hang out with me, give me a break. So, but no, going back to what you were sharing about the conference, right? I mean, you hit on something that's just like so obvious, but like, sometimes it's the most obvious thing staring you in the face that you're like, well, yeah, we got to work on that. Is when you're talking about the separate tracks, right, for crypto and Web 2 domains and things, and it's like, yeah. So how does somebody, like, let's say I have a gigantic portfolio of Web 2 domains, which I don't, but like for business purposes, right? I'm gonna want to be spending time in there, networking, collaborating, doing whatever. But I also want to learn, right? So that I agree that's problematic. What I'm observing is, I think that, and I mean, you obviously have a very diverse group, but there are a lot of Web 2 domainers that I observe on Twitter, crypto Twitter specifically, who are really beginning to invest more time in understanding Web 3 domains. And I always get super excited when I see that, because I mean, I think they should be. So great suggestion. Um, really like that. And you were talking about AI, and I'm not an AI expert. I agree with everything Gary said, and I think Gary, he generally calls it like it is, that AI and blockchain are going to work hand in glove, right? Because the AI can absorb a lot of information, but what's true, what's correct? Well, blockchain, enables that almost perfectly. Um, so my thesis, I've been in ENS for about 3.5 years, and a big part of my thesis has been just simple identity, right? Because I've heard a lot of people talking over the last couple of years about these chatbots, things like, I mean, they're gonna want a name, right? Like if you got a chatbot that's like focused on kind of like this subject niche, hobby topic, whatever you're interested in, like, well, how are you gonna go to it? How are you gonna find it? How is it gonna build its own brand? And what better way to do that than to give it a blockchain based name? If I could ask one question though,
Mm-hmm.
um, you mentioned, you threw out the term earlier, brand, uh, like recognition and protection. Okay, so we're kind of, we've been living in this world where .com is king, and people have had to adapt to, okay, .xyz, .io, .co, a bunch of different TLDs. I mean, that space is expanding, and not just expanding in availability, but expanding in its acceptance of the masses, right? I mean, probably 5 years ago, somebody would have been like, wait, what is this website I'm on that ends with the .xyz? What the hell does it mean? Whereas now, I think for a lot of people, it's commonplace. So you add to that, right, a whole bunch of new TLDs that are blockchain based TLDs, right? Whether it's something like, .sol, .eth, .btc, .sats, okay, a whole new like realm of them. What are you seeing or hearing, if anything, about like brands who say like, hey, I already got my .com, or maybe like I got my .eth or whatever. I got the blue chip, maybe a couple next derivatives. But how far do you go in keeping up with the expansion of the name place, right? Because ideally you'd like to have every TLD of your core word, but at some point you got to draw the line, right? And you can't get them all anyway. Any thoughts on that, or vibe that you're kind of observing from the space about when people are like, I got to a point where I had this one, I had that one, I had that one, and okay, I don't need to also get the .base, .eth, or .sol or whatever. Thoughts?
I think, okay, what I say doesn't really represent NiFi now, and it's not financial advice. For me, like personally, I would see who is behind these top level domains, especially the ones that's not ICANN accredited, or the ones who claim to be decentralized but are not decentralized. I will be very careful about that, and I think .eth is very good extension you have to get. It's there, like someone like you who has been the ENS community for a long time. I believe there are many community contributors in the community contributing name service as well. So, in to be honest, to be frank with you, I think in the blockchain space, we've only seen one domains that's really taken off, which is ENS. I think the merits really goes to the community, and also the developer community and the people who are supporting it in the community. But for others, I think it's more of a commercial game than than anything else. And for the ICANN accredited top level domains, people know that there are top 5 top level domains. That's the TLD that's actually valuable of a brand, that's backed by statistics, that's actually useful, which is .com, .co, something org maybe. You probably know better than me, but .com and .co, they are probably the go-tos for brands to have a. But for tech is more .io or XYZ, but .com is really the blue chip. So I think for me, I would look at who is behind it, and also that for the Web3 thing, I would say who is behind it, what's their motivation? Is it just purely for tokens or for commercials, or it's something else? So for Web2, you probably have more expertise on that. Yeah. So that's
Well,
basically my opinion.
that
Yeah.
that's a, that great thoughts. And when you said there's something you said that when you did, like, kind of the light bulb went in my head is like you said you think they're thinking more about commercial, right? And I think you're right, because, like, look, let's take a big organization, right? You might have a handful of people that are focused on, security, brand protection, things like that. But nearly everybody's focused on revenue streams and attracting new customers and growing, business with existing customers. So yeah, they're probably a lot more concerned with, like, what does this extension do for me in terms of reaching my customers and generating, whether it's the comfort of a .com or the unique, or like hey, look how forward thinking we are of an IO or an .eth or something like that, rather than like, oh, we need to cover our bases so people aren't confused. So uh, I like your thoughts, very valuable, and I appreciate that.
Oh, and also I think, because it's my first time attending Domain conference, and I joined Domain in January, I didn't know that the ecosystem is so rich, um, rich in terms of diversity. I mean, it's like you have to see if the extension you get is what's the risk of that being abused by a hacker or something. So I think a responsible registry would seek some cybersecurity services for their extensions. So as a brand, I think the goal is, obviously you have to grow yourself commercially or sustain yourself, but also you have to keep your users safe. So it's also your responsibility of choosing wisely the domains. And even though I think what the problem in the industry right now, pointed by Werner Stopp, is that there's no connection between the ownership of different second level domains. He gave an example of .sport. So there are a lot of scam news in the sport industry that kind of use a similar kind of typoed domains on their social media, but like transmitting fake news. And on the YouTube side, it's like they are verified, like the account is verified by YouTube, but then the domain is totally false. So the point is, you want to protect your users, and the whole industry should work together to improve the cybersecurity aspect of domains. Otherwise, people just see fake news anywhere from the social media. So yeah, I think that's also one of the ways you have to see. I don't know, that's just my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I think it's one of the ways people need to, like, be prepared to adapt to the changing world, because, I, like, I'm cruising around Web 2, and I'm just searching for information or something like that, like, whatever. I pop in the wrong, address, TLD, I fat finger something, like, okay, I'm not getting what I'm finding, right?
Hmm.
Versus, like, if you're using that same address as a wallet address to send money to, especially blockchain based, where there's no redo, right? um yes, it becomes more critical. So totally agree with you there.
Yeah. So another feedback I got from the domain summit is that we have internet for like how long? We have domain for 29 years, and then sadly, this domain system is very archaic. So people, we need more builders in the space to innovate in the domain space, whether it's in startups or nonprofit. So there are many opportunities there, and how you connect information publication to the blockchain, because I don't know. In my view, I think money is easy to decentralize. Since I'm not sure if you know the blogger Linda Alden. So he talked about what is Ponzi schemes. It's something that lives on itself. So I mean, national currencies can be, because the issuance, like the government can just issue the money, but Bitcoin is the only the only currency that's in history that support decentralized issuance. So for money, maybe it's easy to decentralize, but we've only seen one successful case, but not the other ones. But for information definitely need to be governed by people or government. I mean, ICANN domains is gonna be there because you need these domains to publish information. Same for social media, they need a domain to hold a lot of user handles to publish information. So it's really like building a better space, like better using domains to build a better social media space for kind of globally recognized identity systems. So your identity is not lost when you hop on from YouTube to, say, what's the other, Instagram. It's like there should be a global system for identities. So in that way, I think we would have a better internet and less scams as well. But it's yeah, we need more builders in the space. That's basically my takeaway. It's an optimistic takeaway though. Yeah. Yeah, anyhow, I think, yeah, thank you everyone for coming today to the space, and thank you the goats and Gary and Hedgehog and everyone for coming and listening me talking for a while. Yeah, so hope to see you next time, and I think we haven't really decided who to invite next week. But if you have some ideas, just comment or DM us. We would think of a way to invite the guest, I think. Yeah, thank you guys. Bye bye.
Thank you.